It is so great chatting with my next guest, and she's going to be making her UFC debut finally January 22nd, UFC Fight Night against Kay Hansen. It's Jasmine Jasudavicius back here on the program. Jasmine, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing awesome. Let's start right off the top. Most important question in this interview. How's your holiday season? I know you have the fight coming up, but look like, from what I can tell on Instagram, you had a good Christmas holiday.
It was all right. Being in camp, you don't get to enjoy it as much as you do. It's funny because I go and I hang out with my family and physically I'm there, but it's like I'm mentally I'm thinking about fighting. I'm thinking about my debut. It's my world is consumed by that right now, and so I look forward to when it's over, and then I'll get back and enjoy the time with my family. But it was still nice. It was good.
And I know, obviously, you got signed by the UFC after a Contender Series. Was this kind of the right amount of time off to have your debut, or were you looking to fight at the end of last year? What was sort of the timing on this?
I mean, I was looking for a quick after the Contender Series. I said I'm still there for 2 weeks, so put me on something. I was hoping that I was gonna get on something. But I mean, this works out too. I get a full camp. I got some time off after Contender Series just to like decompress and really take it in, and so it worked out to be better anyways. But I would have been happy either.
And for those who don't know, this was supposed to be on next Saturday's card, January 15th, if I'm not mistaken, and then they moved it a week. Was that like a COVID thing? What happened there as far as why the fight was moved?
I'm not too sure. I just got a message from my manager saying, like, would you be cool with moving the fight to the next weekend? I'm like, well, yeah, for sure. One's at the Impex, one's at the Honda Center. The Honda Center, it's a huge card and two title fights on it. So of course I'm not against that. And but yeah, I'm not exactly sure why. I maybe because Kay, she's from around there, so it kind of makes sense for the fans. But yeah, I'm not too sure.
Now, as far as fighting Kay Hansen, were you a bit surprised that you were fighting her just because you guys are kind of prospects? I know you're older than her, but sort of same trajectory. Like she's only had a couple fights in the UFC. So did that surprise you? Were you sort of expecting a fight like this?
Um, it didn't surprise me, but yeah, at the same time, I wasn't expecting it either. Like go after getting the contract, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know who they were gonna give me, but yeah, I think it's a good matchup. It's like both, yeah, exactly what you said. We're both prospects, so it's like put us up against each other and see who will rise. So I like it. I think it's cool.
Were you pretty familiar with her prior to taking this fight? Like, had you watched her fights or at least knew who she was before accepting the fight?
Yeah. I mean, I was a little bit familiar. I mean, kind of like coming into MMA and all that kind of stuff. But my anticipation was to fight at 115, and so I did see some of her fights because I had my eyes on that weight class, and then. But yeah, now that we're both at 25, then so I was familiar with her name prior, but it's not like I anticipated this matchup or anything like that. So I didn't know too much, but the name was familiar to me.
How do you feel like you match up against her in this fight in terms of the style matchup?
I think it's a good matchup. I think that we're both like very well rounded, and so I think it'll be a really cool fight because it's like who knows where it's gonna go. Like we're both comfortable on the feet, we're both comfortable grappling, so it's gonna be a fun one for sure.
And I know you've had a lot of support from the Canadian fans sort of leading into this debut. I mean, we're all excited, right? Like, there's not that many Canadians on the UFC roster, but I know she's got a pretty big fan base for a variety of reasons. One of them being, she has an OnlyFans. Have you seen any of her fans kind of, say, hey, you're going to lose or anything? Have you got any sort of trash talk on social media from her fans at all?
I haven't seen too much. I mean, I I'm pretty bad with social media, so it's not like I'm on it too much. I'm sure if I went digging, then there would definitely be some. But but yeah, like I feel like I'm only really looking at like my supportive fans, like exactly what you said. Like Canada has such support, and like I've had like a lot of people reach out and just like send me really nice messages like over Instagram, just like saying like, "Hey, we're behind you" and all that, and so it's like that's what I'm running on it. And also, I like that she's got a pretty big fan base because after the big win, I'm going to steal some of those fans.
There you go. I love it. That's great. Training camp. I saw you've been working with Ashley Nichols. She's someone I interviewed ages ago, and obviously, known for her striking. How's it been getting to work with her ahead of this fight?
It's been awesome. Yeah, she actually came down. It was like the day before I left for Vegas for Contender Series. So I didn't get to train with her prior to Contender Series. And then so once I got back, then I had the opportunity. Like she now lives here, so I'm able to train with her all the time, and it's crazy. I've got like a group of girls right now that are amazing. Like I'm so fortunate. My whole entire career, I've always had just guy training partners. I've had no girls, and now it's like we have a group of girls, and then additionally, I'm making the trip out to like House of Champions every once in a while, and working with the girls there, like Belbita is there, and like
Yeah.
there's a couple other girls. So I have way more girl partners than I've had my entire life, and so I'm so fortunate. Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's cool that Ashley made the move down here, and yeah, I couldn't be more pleased with my training right now.
Who are some of the other girls you get to work with as far as bodies in the gym? You mentioned having more females to train with. Who are some of the other names you get to work with?
Yeah, like I said, the Diana Belbia from House of Champions, and then Eram, she's a kickboxer. I got Ashley. I've got a girl named Kaya. She's a younger girl. She's a wrestler. She's actually from Victoria or Vancouver. I forget,
Either
but
way,
yeah,
British Columbia, the best province in Canada.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. I actually lived in BC for like a year.
Did you really?
I
Where
lived
did
in
where did you live?
Victoria. I lived in Victoria, and then I moved to Vancouver for like a month, but then I came back home. I missed home too much.
Oh, that's
But yeah,
interesting. I went to
I
high
used
school. Not to bore our audience here. I went to high school in Mill Bay. If you know where that is, it's in between Nanaimo and Victoria. So I know the island quite well. So
Really?
yeah.
That's cool. Though I used to always go down and like feed the seals. Like, oh, it was
Oh,
like
of
one of my
course.
favorite things to do. And like just like watch them. They look like little puppy dogs in the water.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So people don't get confused. This is a TLC show,
Yeah.
as opposed to
Yeah.
the fighting interview here. You talk about training partners. I got to ask, how's your buddy Aaron Jeffrey doing? I know disappointing what happened towards the end of the year with his loss, but how's Aaron doing? And any update on when we could see him in the cage next? Because obviously, he's a guy that's just right there as far as a UFC contract.
Yeah, he's doing awesome. Literally, we just finished training. I like ripped home to make sure to be on time for this interview. But yeah, he's looking sharp, and I don't know if I'm allowed to
He's
say
got
or
something in
not,
the
but
works. Something in the works, I guess. Yeah.
there might be something in the near future for him. But yeah, he I think that last fight really kind of like changed something. He looks good. He looks really really good.
Awesome. And then I imagine you're going to finish camp out here in Canada, or any plans to go down to Vegas again and train a bit there?
No, we're gonna go down early. We're leaving next week actually on the 12th. We're gonna go down to Vegas and then just make the drive to Anaheim. I don't, with the border, everything right now, we don't want to risk anything. So yeah, and like having the PI and being able to do recovery there, and I have such a great relationship with everyone at Syndicate. So it makes sense to kind of get out there early, the bit of a time difference, the heat difference, everything like that. So yeah, we're going out to Vegas first, and then heading over for fight week.
That's awesome. Who's going to be making the trip with you down to Vegas and eventually down to California? Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
So for this fight, I have, of course, Chris Prickett. He's always in my corner. But this time around, I have Matt DiMarcantonio. So he's been with me from day one, and he's cornered me for a lot of my fights. Like, life kind of gets in the way. He had a kid, so he wasn't able for Contender Series. But yeah, he's able to come down. And then I also have Matthew Jelly.
I know Matthew quite well. It's funny. He's like, I know he was in Vegas for a while too. Matt, people don't know that Matt helped Weili Zhang win the title. People forget that he was like one of her main pad holders for that fight.
Yeah, he lived in China with her for I forget, like a couple months or something like that. Yeah, I know it's crazy. He kind of flew under the radar a little bit, but we're fortunate to have. We met him in Vegas, and he lives in Alberta, and so when he was back there, then Chris was like on him, hey, come to NTT and everything, and so we're fortunate to have him. He's living with us right now, so it's crazy right now. I have like my striking coach and my grappling coach literally living in the same house as me, so it's like I couldn't ask for a better setup. You know what I mean? It's insane, but yeah, so he's been with us for a little while now, helping everyone on the team, and he's just a great asset. Like NTT loves him, and he's he's kind of travels around. He's a little bit.
He's
of
a nomad.
gypsy.
He's a nomad. He doesn't live anywhere. He just kind of does. He goes wherever the fights take him, I guess.
Exactly, but I'm trying to like make it this is like his kind of like home away from home.
How do you envision this fight playing out on January 22nd? I know you feel like you're going to get your hand raised, but how do you see the fight playing out?
For this fight, we've kind of decided to just kind of let the fight go where it needs it. Like I said, we're both well-rounded, so it's like I'm gonna take whatever opportunity presents itself for me, and yeah, of course, exactly what you said, get my hand raised at the end of it.
Are you someone that has New Year's resolutions or like goals like throughout the year? We're at the start of the year. I always ask the fighters kind of what their goals are if they have any. I'm sure you have a few.
Just win the UFC debut and get a fat bonus if possible.
For sure. Do you have any, but no like personal goals or anything, or do you want to fight like a certain amount of fights this year? Anything like that come to mind?
Not really. I mean, I'll make like little goals like throughout kind of thing, but it's like, right now I'm in camp, that all I'm thinking about is like making it to Anaheim and then getting my hand raised.
If you win, are you going to go celebrate at Disneyland because it's right down the street?
I think I must, that's what you have to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. And before we go, one thing I forgot to ask you, and I think I forgot to ask you this in the last interview, what was the deal with that tattoo with your friend and you making it to the UFC? Tell that story for people who might not know.
So yeah, my friend, she like the one night we were at, it was UFC Ottawa, and I was like, I just started training at the time, like literally like maybe like 1 or 2 sessions kind of thing. And then I was watching the fights with her, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna make a run at this. And then she's like, yeah, you make it to the UFC, I'll get your face tattooed on my ass. And then the next day we were driving home, and I'm like, no, so seriously, Kylie, like if I make the UFC, you're gonna get it done? She's like, yeah, 100%. We're like, I'll do it. And after I got the contract, I messaged her. I'm like, get that ass ready. And then she's like, man, but she's down. Like she's ready to get it. We anticipated that we were gonna do it after the Contender Series, but kind of like everything got crazy. Life got in the way. So now we're gonna do it after the debut, like in my first real UFC fight. So we're gonna make sure get it documented and everything.
That's awesome. So was that the last UFC Ottawa card, the one with Rory McDonald and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, or was there another card before that? Which card did you see? That was the one at the... It
was the one that Jason Sago was on. I don't even remember who the main event was. I feel like it.
I think that was the same card. I'm pretty sure Saga was on that one. Misha Serkinov was on the card. Colby Covington was on the card. Actually, he fought Jonathan Meunier. I'm pretty sure that's the card. And the only reason I remember that because I covered that card. It was so hot in the arena that the media had to. Yeah. Okay. So we are talking about the same card because it was so hot in the arena. The media tent was on the football field where the Ottawa CFL team plays.
That was it. Yeah, because Chris was saying that the walkout was like they had to go across the field. Yeah. No,
that's crazy.
It was crazy how hot that place was.
It was insane. And it's just crazy that you just started training back then and you're in the UFC now. Like that's because that wasn't that long. I want to say that was what, 2017, I think, 2016. I'm trying to remember when that card was.
Yeah. That was like literally right when I started. Yeah.
That's awesome. And here you are making your debut January 22nd. We can't wait, Jasmine. UFC Fight Night. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media? I'll give you the last word.
Just want to thank my team and all my training partners. I think Niagara Top Team's the best in the world, and I just can't wait to put us on the map and get my hand raised on the 22nd.